question.
I'm okay. My dad heard shots like pops. I don't know what's happening. I'm tied upstairs.
Did it sound like gunshots?
I don't know what gunshot sounds like. I just heard a pop.
Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a very viral story coming out of Markham, coming out of York region. And this is a case that has been highlighted over the years many, many times, but it came back up in the media recently because they have a whole Netflix documentary talking about just this case alone. Now, this video might be longer than what I usually post, but a few people have been asking for some longer content. So here we go. The story starts off with two people by the name of Brick and Han Pam. Now, I hope I'm saying that right, but the dad's name is Brick and the mom's name is Han, and their last name is Pam, excuse me, with an M. And they were from Vietnam. They moved to Canada and they winded up living in Scarborough, and that's where they lived until 2004, where they bought a house in Markham. They bought a nice house, and they had two children up here, one named Jenifer and one named Felix. Now, the parents worked in Aurora. And that's way up north. That's like going up towards Barrie, near Newmarket and those area. And they worked in like a car factory. They were engineering cars and stuff like that. And that was kind of like what their family did. But they had enough money. They had Lexus, they had Benz, they just bought the big house in Markham. So they were living, bro. They were financially well. Now, these parents are what you would call tiger parents. This is a style of parenting that like Asian parents. So not all of them, obviously not all of them, but some Asian parents have a style of parenting they call tiger parents, where they're very on their children. They want their children to have the best and to do the best. So they'll be very strict. Like they're on their children to make sure that their children come out number one. Like they're on their kids hard. And they expect their kids to get all A's, which Felix and Jenifer appeared to be doing. It seemed like, Jenifer was getting all A's, but what we come to find out is that even though they went to very good schools and all that, Jenifer wasn't getting no all A's. She was around a 70% average, like around a C, and she was forging her school reports, to make it look like she was getting A's when she was really getting C's. Her parents didn't want her to have no boyfriend. They never even wanted her to have friends that were boys. This whole tiger thing, bro, it's deep. Like, she couldn't do nothing. Jenifer, she was on lockdown all the while. She used to always complain and just say like she hates how she has to live. So Jenifer started to turn bad. Now she's, falsifying school reports. And people always say that if you're very strict on your children, parents, if you're strict on your children are going to start to become sneaky and do these things because you're not letting them find out how to do whatever and fuck up for themselves. So now they're going to start to go out and do sneaky things. But that couldn't stop Jenifer, because Jenifer still wound up and had a boyfriend. And they started talking in about 2003, especially when they went on a school trip all the way to Europe. It was a local boy that went to her school. They went to a Catholic school in Markham, I believe it was. But they went on a school trip to Europe in 2003, and she was they were like in a club or something like that. And because of all the weed burning and the cigarette smoking, I guess she couldn't handle it, and like she got like an asthma attack. And the guy that was, the one that her friend that she met at school was really tending to her, and it made her kind of like really love the boy. Now, high school is over, and she's telling her family that she's going to go to Ryerson, and she was going to go to Ryerson for 2 years. And she even got early, early enrollment because of how good her grades were and stuff. But then, come to find out, she didn't graduate high school because she failed calculus, and she never had no ceremony, no nothing. But what she wound up doing was making a fake acceptance letter from Ryerson and, making it look like she got into school so that they wouldn't know she never finished high school, and that she never got the early registration, the early enrollment, that they took her off of that. And then she lied and said that she was getting grants and stuff because, you have to pay for the college. So her parents are wondering, like, do we have to pay now? Where's the money coming from? And she said, no, because I'm getting beer grants and stuff like that and scholarships. So you guys won't have to pay for nothing. There's a whole sneaky Jenifer is, So her dad wanted her to be a doctor, right? One thing with tiger parents, they say, is that your parents choose your career life, what you're going to study for and what you're going to do. But Jenifer didn't like doctor stuff. Her body couldn't handle it. She never liked blood. She was scared. She didn't want to deal with dead body. She just didn't want to do that. And her dad realized that about her. So her dad said, okay, well, I'm going to keep you in the doctor field, and I'm just going to make you become, I think they said a pharmacologist, I think was the word. And Jen said, "Yeah, I'll do that. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to Ryerson for 2 years with the scholarship and stuff that I have, and then I'll go to University of Toronto. I'll go there for the next 2 years. So 4 years total I'll be in school." So she bought up books and all the other stuff to make it look like she was going to school, watching documentary, taking notes in front of her parents to make it look like she's going. But she never went to these school a day in her life. So the 2 years now went past where she was supposedly at Ryerson, and every time she would tell her parents that she's going to school, all she was doing was going over to one of her friend them house. She wasn't going to no Ryerson. So now it's time to switch over and go to U of T. And the same thing happened. Every single day that she supposedly went to U of T, she was going to her friend's house. Then now the 2 years done and graduation time come around, she tells her family that she has a very big class. This year class is huge, right? So I never got tickets. They only gave out one ticket per person, and I have two parents, right? So I wound up giving it to my friends so that you guys don't have to choose between who has to come to my graduation. And surprisingly, the parents them fell for this again. So now she never done high school, she got away with that. She never do the first 2 year rising, she got away with that. She never do the next 2 years of UFT, and she got away with that. And then she said she wants to volunteer at Sick Kids for some program that they had that would make her continue her pack. Remember, she has to keep it up. She has to keep up this, what's the word, facade now. She has to keep this up. So now she's saying she's gonna go to Sick Kids, go volunteer in some blood lounger. I forgot what they said it was, but she's saying that it's gonna be nighttime shifts now. It's not gonna be like day school. They want me to do nighttime volunteer hours. So conveniently, that's what she winds up doing. But once again, all she was doing was going to some man's house at the night time. Well, I wouldn't say man, because actually this friend wasn't a man. Some of them was man, but this one was a female. So now when Jenifer comes home, look more in that evening after her parents, called and realized that she wasn't where she said she was going, they wind up paging her and they're like, "Yo, where were you? This thing with the school, none of this is making sense." And they're paging her, till she just comes clean. She doesn't come clean with everything, but she says that she never went to the UFT. She's not doing the sick kids thing, but she lied and said that she still did the high school and the Ryerson. So as you can imagine, her parents are pissed the fuck off, and this is not even the full truth, but the parents are vexed. And they took away all her technology. They ground her. They even were tracking her car mileage to make sure, say, wherever she's driving to, she's just going there and coming back home. So, say she says she's going from here to Tim Horton, and they know that Tim Horton's 4 kilometers away, and her car has 290,000 kilometers. That bitch better be at 294,000. Why time it? Well, is that how it will work? Because they're not driving 4,000. You know what I'm trying to say, bro. They're counting the kilometer them to make sure it says she's going where she says she's going. And later on that night, she wound up making a post on Facebook saying like how she hates her life and it feels like she's living on house arrest and all these type of things. She was vexed, bro. Jenifer couldn't handle this much longer. But she was still sneaking. She was still climbing through a window. One time her parent found pillow and bed sheet underneath a comforter pretending to be human being, and she's supposed to jump out the window, run to go see her man. So Jennifer was doing whatever she wanted. Like at this point now, she didn't care. And you guys have to keep in mind, she's not a little pitney now. She would have graduated high school all 4 or 5 years ago. So this she's about like 23, and she still has to live like this because she's living in her parents' house. And Han said, "If you're gonna be in my house, you have to do what I say, or else you have to come. You're gonna have to come out. You know what I mean? Like you can't stay in here." She never wanted to leave, so she decided to stay with her parents. But look how she was living. So I feel like she should have just left. You know what I mean? Like you're 23, you're a big woman, you're doing piano recital, and you work at a restaurant. Them time in 2010 was a lot more affordable than now. You could have moved out instead of staying and living like this. That's just my thoughts, but let's not get too deep into what I think yet. So her man wound up leaving her because the man and him, we're gonna call him Dan, right? Dan couldn't handle all of this. Dan couldn't handle the sneaking out, the parents running her down, the bag of lying, why they can't be together, all the excuses. So the man left her and went with some next girl, and we're gonna call that girl Christine. Now it looked like Jennifer started to go mad because Jennifer said that Christine sent man to come rob her house, and she received bullet in the mailbox, and it was Christine who sent the bullet them. So it seemed like Jen was going mad. But then in the springtime now of 2010, she ended up re-linking up with a nigga that we're gonna call Drew. Now this was her friend who she used to know from a long time. And when they were talking out of nowhere, Drew winded up because he's also has tiger parent, and he said like, "Yo, At one point, I wanted to kill my dad. I guess they're just talking about their life or whatever. And that's what he wound up telling her. And from that moment, got the thought, Jenifer, right? She got the thought in her head that her life would be so much better, so much easier, so much nicer if her parents weren't around. Now, this just shows the mind thought that I don't know why people always think like this. I watch a lot of true crime, right? And I see people that always say, well, okay, my parents are mean to me, I'm just going to kill them. Just move. Simply just run away. Just move. Or niggas that are in relationship and they don't want the wife no more and they go kill the wife in the pitney. Just divorce her and leave. Like, why do you guys have to resort to killing the person any fucking way? That was in her head, right? And she never wound up telling him right away, but she was thinking about that. So one day she wound up telling Drew this. And Drew introduced Rick, a person we're going to call Rick, right? He introduced her to Jenifer, and they made a plan to shoot Han, the dad, right? Outside of his workplace in the parking lot. That was a plan that they made. But hear the story, Rick wound up taking the $1,500 that Jen gave him, because Jen gave him $1,500 to do the job. But supposedly now Rick was like, bro, you stupid, and ran off with the $1,500 and said, you couldn't pay me to do that for that, and you waste my time, so I'm taking the $1,500. But when police wind up catching up to Rick, look more after everything happened, and was asking him about this, he was telling the police that, nah, the story don't go like that. She owed me money for something else, and that's why I just took the money. But she never offered me to kill nobody. Anyway, Jenifer and Dan, remember Dan, the same man that left her before she went mad and stuff like that? They wind up getting back together, and the same thought was on Jenifer's mind. Now it's sewn in her body. Now she really wants to do this, kill her parents. Well, originally it started with her father. She just wanted to kill her father. So she went and was telling Dan this, and they're speaking, and they made a plan to kill the parents, both of them now. And at this point, Dan introduced a person that we're going to call Homeboy to Jenifer, and they all said that, okay, Homeboy said, I'll do it for 10K. So they were saying, bro, you could never give nobody $1,500 to do this type of work that we're doing. You're going to have to give me more than that, up to 20,000. And they said, we will settle on 10, because he said, I'll give you family discount. So he took off 10K off of the price. And what they planned to do was they planned to have a home invasion gone wrong type of style murder. And they scheduled it for 11/10/10. In other words, November 10th of 2010. I want you guys to pay attention to these dates, because these dates, they signify something. If you're spiritual and you know certain thing about number, listen to this. So everything was normal now on the night of November 10th, 2010. Everything was a normal night. Around 8:30, Han must have dropped asleep. Jenifer was in her room and Bick was out dancing. She did line dancing. So around 9:30, she came back home and she gone upstairs to go bed and put on her pajamas or whatever, and was just downstairs watching TV when Jenifer came downstairs and kissed her goodnight. But hear what Jenifer did. She walked over to the door and unlocked the front door, unbeknownst to anybody in the house. Remember, the dad's sleeping, the bro's gone somewhere, and the mom is in the living room watching TV. Now, these big houses in Markham aren't like our houses that we know, like where the door and the living room, you can be in the living room and look at the front door. That Markham house is big. They have big foyer. Most of the time they have like a living room in the front that nobody don't use. So they're like down by the kitchen, more inside of the house. So they would never realize that she would have locked the door. But the stairs to get upstairs is always right near the front door. So you can see how that kind of, you know what I mean? She wind up going into one of the room them, like I was telling you, with the living room, like the first living room, and the first living room is never used, but you can always see it from the outside. That's like when you look from the outside and you see that living room, that's mostly what it is, not the used one, but some people call it a study, some people call it a den, or whatever you want to do with it. She flickered the lights, and that was a signal for the man out the door to know, say, okay, and that was at 10:02 p.m. Right after that, about 10:05, 3 niggas run into the house. One took the dad, one got Jen and brought her downstairs and was telling me, give me all the money, whatever. Remember, she planned all of this, So they come into the house, they go downstairs, and she goes and she gets, I think, $1,100 from her mom's room, and then gave the robber man $2,500 out of her own money. So it was $3,600 that she wound up giving the robber them. Then now they wind up tying up Jen with a shoestring to the banister, and they brought the two parents them downstairs and shot both of them, Bick and Han. Now I want to play you guys the 911 call, because she wound up calling 911 with her hands them tied up behind the banister. And the story, bro, was it not, you can see why they're making a Netflix documentary on this, because this is actually crazy. You guys listen to this 911 call, and I'm gonna be right back.
What's your name?
My name is Jenifer.
So it just broke in?
Someone broke in and I heard shots, pops. I don't know what's happening. I'm tied upstairs.
Did it sound like gunshots?
I don't know what that sounds like. I just heard a pop.
Shouldn't.
I'm okay. My dad just went outside screaming.
Do you think your mom is downstairs too?
I don't hear her anymore. Please hurry. I don't know what's happening.
All right, so you guys just heard that 911 call. Now, the dad, he was not dead. And if you listen to the call, you can hear him scream in the background. Reason why he wound up screaming is because after they shot him in his face, I believe it was, the man was kind of down for like a second or two, looking at days. But when he came to and realized, wow, go on, that's when he yelled at that scream that you guys heard. And she's like, oh, daddy, or whatever the fuck she said. That was when he looked down and realized that his wife was beside him dead. So he ran out the house, dripping in blood all over his face. And one of the neighbor was going to work at that time. I wind up seeing him, run outside like that. So the neighbor called police, and police came and rushed him to the hospital where he was put in a coma. Now, you guys know on my podcast, I don't like to go over the whole trial and stuff, especially in this video that's already longer. The interrogations are hours, and I sat and I watched all of them. You guys can go on JCS, I think it is JCS Inspired. That man has the full interrogation, and there's a next channel that has the next part, because there was like two interrogation. Bro, the videos are hours. It's hours upon hours. The second interrogation, she got interrogated for 9 hours, and I didn't watch the whole 9 hours because it's not available, but all the other hours of footage that they have, I watched it all, and I urge you guys to go watch it. I'm not going to put it in my video, but she's talking bare foolishness, and the police them are even asking questions to like, how, if your hand is tied behind your back, you're gonna have to show me, like, put your hand behind your back and show me how you can open up phone to call 911 and do all that with your hand tied up behind your back. But she wasn't charging nothing like that right away, you know what I mean? She went up going to the funeral of her mom, and everybody was already saying at the funeral, like, she was moving weird, bro. She was moving super weird. She wasn't moving sad, and people weren't really saying much because you can't judge her. You can't judge her. You don't know how people grieve. Like they say, you don't know how everybody grieves differently. So people were just saying, but people were still watching. Police was watching her, watching all her every move now, because police done been suspicious already long time. But here's where the biggest twist of the story comes in. Han, the dad, remember he was in a coma? 3 days later, he woke up and he remembered everything that happened miraculously. Because remember, he got shot in his face, and his face was still mashed up. I heard he had like bullet megal piece in his face, and his chin was blast open and all. Like the man was mashed up, but he still remembered everything. And hear what the man winded up saying. The man said that she was up talking with the robber them, like as of a friend, like that was her friend. They weren't talking like, oh, come on my house, like she was like just talking, we don't know exact words, but they were speaking like friends. And the next thing was that he looked up and seeing her walking around freely, just walking about with the people in the house after all what happened. So she claimed to be tied up. Supposedly she wasn't tied up at all, and that's how she was able to make the 911 call. So this whole story, bro, is like, it was never heard of, not in Markham for sure, but the whole plotting, like how deep this went, you know what I mean? And on 12, 13, 14, remember I was telling you about the dates, 12, 13, 14. So December 13 of 2014, her and the other three invaders got sentenced to lives. Now, one of the people them that was involved, actually, I would say three of them got sentenced to life, but there was four involved, including Jen. And one of them, the trial got put back because of the lawyer was sick or one bag of thing. But one of the youths, them, I think it's homeboy, winded up deading in jail. The man was found dead in his cell in 2018. And supposedly there was a whole bunch of suspicion with that. So you guys are gonna have to let me know if you want a video on that. I think I know a person that made a video on it, and I'll just put it in the description. But I want to get into my thoughts about this whole situation. The first thought I have is, in no way do you want to blame the parents, because this should have never happened at all. You should never been so fuck up to even think to do that to your parents, no matter how strict they are. They're doing it for not them, but for you. It probably could be a little bit for them because they want to show off to their friends or whatever, but they're trying to ensure a good life for you. And if you don't agree with how your parents grow you, after the age of 18, you can leave and do what you want, but you decided to stay. You're a big 23, nearly 24-year-old woman, and you're moving like a grade 7 that wants to go see her boyfriend. You know what I mean? And I understand that that's your parents, and you might want to respect them and you fear them and all that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like, why didn't you just move out? And next thing is that parents cannot be so strict on their children, because it makes them what you don't want them to be. When you're open with your children, when you let your children, when you let them be able to talk to you and you talk to them, and you let them go and experience stuff safely and make them make a decision on their own if it's good for them or not. But you monitor them and you tell them what the right thing is. But at the end of the day, it's still your own picnic life and they can do what they please. But when you try to overdo it and try keep them, so when you're so strict on them, it makes them broke out. Don't you realize the worst kids have the strictest parents? Anybody who with sense would realize that the worst kids, the kids that carry on the worst at school, have the baddest, most strictest parents, because their parent, they come to school like, I don't know. I've always realized that, and I feel like this is the perfect extreme over the top example of this, because look what happened now. You know what I mean? The bro though, I don't think the bro got it as bad. I don't know if the um pressured him as much as they pressured Jenifer. But with the bro, probably he just naturally is like that within himself. Jenifer wasn't like that. Jenifer was a bad person, bad girl, want to do whatever she wants to go out with her friend, drink, smoke, have man, do all these different things. The bro probably was really a business minded man and didn't want to do those things. You know what I mean? But I want you guys to let me know what you think about this whole situation, because this situation is fuck up. Even how she just found the people them. And remember, it was 10K that they charged. The reason how she was gonna pay them, I mean, no, the way she was gonna pay them, sorry, was by after this whole thing happened and they both died, she was expecting to get life insurance policy worth of $500,000 or $500,000, they said, and she was going to use the $10,000 pay, and they're all going to live happily ever after. But she fuck up. And it's not gonna go like that. She can't come out. She can't even get parole. I think they said till she's like 40 something. So you guys let me know what you think about this whole situation. The dad's still around. He's still alive. But I don't have much more thoughts of what I said. Let me know if I was missing out anything. And if you know these people personally or know anything I'm leaving out, let me know in the comment section down below. And we will talk next time on Talk the Things podcast.
Baby, how about this roller coaster? So high I could barely function. Painkillers help ease my mind. I swear I didn't know the pain. I'm going fast rolling. Ain't but a bag, don't want it. Girl, tell me you rolling with me. Baby, how about this roller coaster? Gonna give it all I got, yeah. Young nigga tryna fall, yeah.